Alrighty, everybody, hope you're doing good. We're continuing our Quran annotation review from the very first time I read it, and after we finish reading all my annotations, we will move on to the Sahih International. Okay, and before we get started, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alright, guess what? We are in Qaf, or the cave, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. So in Surah 18, alright? And then on 4 I annotated further that he may warn those also who say, Allah hath begotten a son. So I can clearly, I annotated that so that I could reference it very quickly. And then on 15, who doth more wrong than such as invent a falsehood against Allah? Serious question to ask yourself. 16. Betake yourselves to the cave. 20. For if they should come upon you, they would stone you or force you to return to their cult, and in that case ye would never attain prosperity. They would stone you or force you to return to their cult. So if a political group is trying to use mob tactics on you to get you to renounce your faith, you have to watch out for that too, if you want to apply that in a modern context. 23. The sleepers nor say of anything, I shall be sure to do so and so tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I've been working on that ever since I've read that. I always try to say, like, God willing, I will do this, or hopefully, if God grants it, because that one always, tomorrow's not guaranteed to anybody, so sometimes you shouldn't be overconfident. And to be honest, that also makes you realize that it's good to plan ahead, to not live second by second, hour by hour, to plan ahead, but don't live for the future, but don't also just live for the now. Be in the present moment, but also plan. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Don't live in the past, don't live in the future, don't only live in the now. You have to have a balance. Do you know what I'm saying? This is one that makes me think that every time I hear it. Without adding, so please Allah, and call thy Lord to mind when thou forgettest, and say, I hope that my Lord will guide me ever closer even than this to the right road. And then on 27, and recite and teach what hath been revealed to thee of the book of thy Lord. None can change his words, and none wilt thou find as refuge other than him. The only refuge. I'm telling you, once you start really thinking about that, the opinions of your work peers dwindle. That's what really helped me. That's why I really like it. 28. Seek his face, and let not thine eyes pass beyond them, seeking the pomp and glitter of this life, nor obey any whose heart we have permitted to neglect the remembrance of us. Okay, so, don't get confused by the glitz and glamour, right? And then, don't obey somebody who Allah's heart has, caused to close. That's how I get it. One who follows his own desires, whose case has gone beyond all bounds. So it's a warning sign. Say, the truth is from your Lord. Let him who will believe, and let him who will reject it. For the wrongdoers we have prepared a fire whose smoke and flames, like the walls and roof of a tent, will hem them in. What's really poetic about that, if you think about it, if you want to apply it to now, everybody keeps calling California Sodom and Gomorrah. I tend to agree with that interpretation of the state. So there's this way in which a fire goes called a shoehorn. It shoehorns you in like a horseshoe, right? So a lot of people are getting hemmed in by these fires slowly and slowly. My grandpa told me, oh, if they get within an hour away, you have to pack up and move, and that's scary. But a lot of people are speculating what's causing them. We know who's causing it, but we cannot say unless we get censored. But still, the Quran can make you think of so many things in your current life. If they implore relief, they will be granted water like melted brass. That will scald their faces. How dreadful the drink, how uncomfortable a couch to recline on. You know what's so interesting is that some people will be like, oh, an uncomfortable couch to recline on, that doesn't sound too bad. Think of it this way. Like, my bed is always been something precious to me. Not necessarily it being fancy, because it's not. Because I've, slept in the dog houses with my dad's dogs and my grandma's dogs, and I used to have big mastiffs and Rottweilers sleep in my bed. So it's not, and there's times I had just a mattress on the floor or couch cushions on the floor. That's not what I mean. But what I mean is that I love being in my bed snuggly with like my cold pillows, and the air is cold. It's like my little nest. Do you know what I'm saying? I think a lot of women can connect with this. I don't know if men feel the same. But when I think about a place in the darkness in a different dimension that is uncomfortable to the point where I can't snuggle anymore, it can really start to make you wonder, because after a hard day's work, you come home, you lay down, and you rest. That's why it's so insidious when people disturb you in the night with their ruckus. And it's a very horrible feeling. I was in my bed when somebody tried to break into my home and rob it. And it's not a good feeling when you're in your sleep and then you hear somebody breaking in. It's a terrifying feeling. And then you realize, like, your bed is like a little mini sanctuary. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's comfortable to recline in. It's your little domain. And once that's taken away, you can never get another restful sleep again. Do you know what I'm trying to say? This makes me think of it. I wonder what you think about when you read that. Because if people just do a surface level reading and don't slow down and really think about, how that can be expanded out to your current situation, and I think you lose the beauty that's, embedded within the verses. 37. Oh, man, his companion said to him in the course of the argument with him, "Dost thou deny him who created thee out of dust, then out of a sperm drop, then fashioned thee into a man?" 40. It may be that my Lord will give me something better than thy garden, and that he will send on thy garden thunderbolts by way of reckoning from heaven, making it but slippery sand. Slippery sand. 45. Set forth to them the similitude of the life of this world. It is like the rain which we send down from the skies. The earth's vegetation absorbed it, but soon it becomes dry stubble, which the winds do scatter. It is only Allah who prevails over all things. Exactly, right? You sprout, you blossom, you wither, you're gone. I mean, it is quite telling that we kind of forget that, but indeed we can do our best to remember it, right? And then 46. Wealth and sons are allurements of the life of this world, but the things that endure, good deeds, are best in the sight of thy Lord, as rewards, and best as the foundation for hopes. Perfect, right? So doing good things in the world, that is a better foundation for the hope that you will be granted into a better position in the next dimension, right? 49. And the book of deeds will be placed before you, and thou wilt see the sinful in great terror because of what is recorded therein. They will say, "Ah, woe to us! What a book is this? It leaves out nothing small or great, but takes account thereof." Man, let me tell you something, man. That is a perfect... Some people say, oh, it's too simple to how the way it states it. But it's literally perfect. Because it's like, they got that too? Do you know what I'm saying? They will find all that they did placed before them, and not one will thy Lord treat with injustice. So, I like those ones. Keeps you in check. Really sees you to the degree to which you can measure, what is this, what is that. The little ones add up, the big ones, add up. It's something. So, indeed, he says great terror. Great terror. You see that? It's amazing.